Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today is November 14th, 2024, and today is one of those big days in the Cheap Seats household, because today is Welcome to Rockville's official lineup release day. Welcome to Rockville started to release some bands by like stage 5 and then stage 4 over the last couple of weeks in a trickle type of effect, based off of what fans wanted to see, whether you wanted to wait to see for an entire lineup to drop or if you wanted to see certain stages day by day and let information trickle down. And of course, as soon as everybody voted that they wanted some information immediately and things to trickle down, then the fan community went berserk and said that they didn't want things that way. But today we get the full shebang, and boy is it stacked. There are 152 bands. This is the biggest year that Rockville is running at Daytona International Speedway. 5 stages, and the festival runs across 4 days. And I can't get into every single band here to go through everything, but the lineup literally just dropped a little bit ago. I'm going to look through or scroll through and at least tell you some things that jump out at me as like big wins. Because I think there are a lot of big wins on this schedule release, right? So starting from stage 5 and working our way up through 4, 3, 2, 1, to the headliners. Dillinger Escape Plan is headlining stage 5 on Thursday. That's huge. Dillinger Escape Plan reuniting, playing this show. And then you get to stage 4, a couple things that jump out at me. This stage is stacked for me during the day. But Body Count headlining, Arch Enemy, Guar, Exodus, all on the same stage on Thursday. And then go to stage 3, you have Asking Alexandria, We Came as Romans, From Ashes to New, Fit for a King, and then headlining that stage, Bullet for My Valentine. And Bullet for My Valentine kind of let things leak a little while back to, on their site, saying that there was going to be a stop for them in Daytona Beach, playing that show with Trivium, which of course on the second stage, which is kind of like the co-headlining stage, you do have Trivium playing. You also have 3 Days Grace, 2X is what they're calling it now, because both the original singer and their subsequent singer are playing with that band on the same day, same show, just taking turns singing the songs that they've sung with the band over the years. That's super cool. We saw 3 Days Grace a couple of years ago open up for Shinedown, and they still put on an amazing show. Headlining that second stage is Rob Zombie coming back again. Rob Zombie, I'll go see Rob Zombie every day during the week and twice on Sunday, although they're playing on Thursday this year. Rob Zombie, the last time that he was at Rockville, had a little bit of a meltdown because the stage equipment wasn't working up to par, up to snuff, and he kind of let everybody know about it. But also that day, I'd be remiss without saying, Crossfade has reunited. They're playing on that second stage also a little bit earlier in the day, which is cool for some folks. I'm not a huge Crossfade person, but I know Mary, gigantic Crossfade person. She totally marked out when they announced that Crossfade would be playing on the main stage on Thursday. Headlining is Shinedown, so Jacksonville's own hometown boy Shinedown coming back again. I want to say the last time that we were supposed to see Shinedown play at Rockville, it might have been like 2 years ago or so, when we kind of had Welcome to Rainville, and Shinedown got through like maybe 4 or 5 songs before they had to leave the stage because of impending lightning in the area. But in main support on that main stage, 3 Doors Down. I'm not a 3 Doors Down guy, so I can't imagine how they have such a high billing on this show, as opposed to maybe being on like a stage 3 type of thing. We saw 3 Doors Down years back at Universal Studios for the Mardi Gras concert series. ZZ Top played, and ironically 3 Doors Down was the opening act for a free concert at a theme park. So that's kind of where my mentality is of where 3 Doors Down is. Although, the folks at Rockville generally know their audience, and they know they read the room, and I think 3 Doors Down is a popular band for some of the folks that go, may go to Rockville. Hailstorm in the 3rd slot there, and then you kind of have like some return bands like Theory of a Dead Man. Blue October is on the main stage, which is, again, kind of odd to me, but Evans Blue reuniting also, and they're playing on the main stage on Thursday. We work our way over to Friday, and starting on stage 5 again, Under Oath headlining the small stage, which is kind of like off in like the dirt patch across from the water slide that is over in that area, back entrance. Seosin in the support slot, and Silverstein is also playing that stage, and Delaware's Prada, Scary Kids Scaring Kids. Seosin back again. Silverstein, we saw Silverstein and Beartooth not only on Warped Tour for a couple of years, but we saw an amazing Silvertooth show, which is Beartooth combined with Silverstein when they play together at the Social. I think it was at the Social, or at the Back Booth rather, in downtown Orlando a few years ago. Beartooth is playing at Rockville, but they're playing on Saturday. This is Friday's lineup, and unfortunately Silverstein's playing Friday. Maybe Beartooth comes in early and they play a little bit of a set together. That Silvertooth stuff was one of the best shows that I've ever seen in a small club setting, at least. And if they could pull that off again, if they show up, early on that Friday, that small stage would be destroyed. But heading over to the fourth stage, Kill Switch is back, Ginger back, August Burns Red. I love those guys. As I Lay Dying is playing also, which is bizarre to me because, like, who's left in that band? But, potentially, these contracts for shows start out months and months and months in advance, so most likely one of those things where they've booked As I Lay Dying, and you're probably just going to have singer just playing a show with whatever new guys they have in the band. And then the rest of the day on Friday kind of takes a fun turn where it's like basically 90s alternative music, right? So you have Good Charlotte. Oh, I apologize. I've skipped over the third stage before we get to the 90s goodness, where we have Knocked Loose, which just recently played. I think they played the Fairgrounds this week. Huge wall of death at that show. Kubla Khan is back again. We saw them last year at Welcome to Rockville, and the pit was ridiculous at that show. But then getting to the 90s goodness, headlining stage and second stage, we're talking about the second stage first. Good Charlotte, Sublime, Bush, Candlebox, Everclear, and then Dorothy is on that stage also. But then you get to the main stage, and I won't get to like how I think this is a little controversial too. But Green Day is headlining that Friday at Daytona International with Alice in Chains in main support. Jimmy Eat World, Newfound Glory, Bowling for Soup, Lit, and Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. And, a couple thoughts here. This is Daytona International Speedway. We just had a very divisive election last week. And the crowd that goes to Rockville, I'm going to go on a limb here, they may be a little bit more leaning towards like Five Finger Death Punch, Stained, those types of bands, and we bring in Green Day. So it is a choice for sure that Green Day is going to be on the card, and I can't imagine their stage banter to a crowd that'll probably not be as receptive as going to see a Green Day show on their own. And we did see Green Day a couple of years back when they played with Fall Out Boy and Weezer up in Jacksonville, and that show, the stadium show, was pretty awesome. I'm not a huge Green Day person. I do like a lot of their songs though, but again, I can't imagine the stage banter from Green Day resonating with the crowd at Daytona International. That's going to be one to watch for sure. I think that's a controversial pick. But you have these other bands like Newfound Glory and Good Charlotte kind of making their appearance also, which are they Rockville bands? I'm thinking there was a large contingent of folks that were waiting for AC/DC and more importantly like Slayer to come and play. Kerry King played last year at Rockville. People were hoping that this year was the year that Slayer would play because they've been playing a bunch of Danny Wimmer festivals. I don't know. We'll get to Saturday, small stage, Whitechapel, Attila, Amur, bands that I would watch if I'm there and there's something or nothing else to watch or vendors to go see. Dayseeker is playing the fourth stage and headlining, and Bill Murray and Set It Off, Real Friends. So kind of a mix there of some really kind of more heavier stuff and more popish punk type stuff, I think. Third stage, Mastodon. There is another band that is completely blurred out on the schedule at this point, so we'll see who they get there. But more importantly, on that third stage for me, Obituary's playing, Municipal Waste is playing. I'm really anxious to see both of those bands again. The second stage, or second headlining stage, Pierce the Veil and I Prevail, that's hilarious to me, are both playing that stage, as well as the return for Hollywood Undead and Sleeping with Sirens. Of Mice and Men is back again, Escape the Fate is back again. But then we get to the headlining stage, and this, if Green Day wasn't divisive, the headliner for Saturday is for sure going to set people off into one or two camps. Linkin Park is headlining on Saturday night with main support Incubus and Beartooth. They've also got Taking Back Sunday. And SeaWorld's own POD is playing again. POD just keeps coming back. They're like the roach. They just won't die. And Hoobastank. Holy hell, like Hoobastank is playing in Sleep Theory. But Linkin Park. Let's talk about Linkin Park. Recently reunited or brought their band back together again with Mike. There's a new singer. That singer has created a very, very, very diverse fan base of Linkin Park and people that are, purely angry because Chester's not here anymore. And to them, I think the band should just die. And then there's fans of the band Linkin Park that want to see them continue. Although the singer has ties in their history to Scientology and supporting Danny Masterson, and if you know that whole story, it's a really tangled web. And if you can't just appreciate Linkin Park for the music, it's going to be a really divisive or difficult night for folks. I am looking forward to seeing Linkin Park. I think the new stuff that they've released is good. I'd say it's beyond saying it's fine. It's good. I like the new stuff that's come out, but it is a really really divisive choice, I think, and people are really kind of split on whether they're looking forward to it or not. Get to Sunday, small stage, Power Trip headlining. I'm psyched about that. And that's kind of like the extent of things. Fourth stage on Sunday, Chiyoda is playing, Hawthorne Heights, Memphis Mayfire, Bless the Fall, Attack. So these against bands that I'm interested in seeing. I probably wouldn't pay to see them separately, so if they're playing a festival, it is to me, Rockville is the ultimate buffet of rock music or music in general, where you're able to just pick and choose things that you want to see, and you can see a little bit of each thing. You get to the third stage, so psyched. Insane Clown Posse, the Clowns are back. They headlined the small stage last year. The crowd was ridiculous with the amount of people that packed in to see ICP. I don't think that anybody, promoter-wise, thought that they would have as huge of a crowd as they did. People dressed with the face paint, Faygo flying everywhere. So this year they're headlining that third stage, which drew sizable crowds last year for bands like Sum 41 and Kerry King on different nights. And the support for that third stage, Testament is back. I love Testament. It'd be interesting to see, again, Alex Skolnick, very outspoken on social media about politics, how the crowd in Daytona will react to Testament. I love those guys. We met up with Chuck Billy before a Metallica show a couple years ago down in South Florida. What a great guy. So I'm so stoked to see Testament come back again. Black Dahlia Murder is also playing that stage. Fit for an Autopsy, Gatecreeper again. Then you get to the second stage, Bad Omens headlining that second stage. Huge following. That is going to be sick. Mudvayne is back again. Mudvayne, and I love Chad Gray. Mary and I talked about this recently. It's impossible to redo like the Hell Yeah type stuff, but we've seen Mudvayne now 3 times, I think, in the last 5 years when they started to come back, since Vinny passed away and Hell Yeah kind of went out of the picture. But how cool would it be if Mudvayne could at least inject a couple of Hell Yeah songs into their set? So I'm going to hold out hope that maybe they do that this time around and not play like the same set that they've been playing. Chad gives it his all, and for all of the arguments that are out there, because I know we had arguments about, like last year with Ronnie Radke, basically just using loops and tapes and things like that. Chad Gray, completely live mic all the time. You know, good, bad, or ugly, Chad Gray is singing and giving it all, and I like to see that. Motionless is playing that stage as well as Seven Dust. So you get to see Seven Dust again. We saw them earlier this year playing with Static X. Phenomenal show also. And then headlining Sunday night, Korn is back. And years back, we've been going to Rockville for, I think 11 or 12 years. We used to complain that Korn was coming back too often or too regular. And Korn is back, and I'm actually genuinely psyched about this because we want to see Korn on the headlining tour. When they came through Florida, we had something else to do that night, so we weren't able to see it. We're able to check them out now, as long as it doesn't rain, and wash them out. Korn headlining Sunday night, Marilyn Manson, Chevelle, Daughtry is there, Filter's there, Snot, and Union Underground is back and playing too. So, stacked lineup, stacked. 152 bands. As of the time that I started to record this, the general admission tickets were somewhere in like the $300 range. So you're thinking like, there's no way that you could see every single band, but if you did, it would be like $2 a band. See, if you figure that you saw 5 bands a day for 25 bands altogether, it works out to be like $12 a band that you're paying to see. Where are you going to go see any of these bands for $12 a band? I mean, I'm in my 50s at this point, and I go back to seeing some of these bands in clubs back in the day, like Body Count. I saw at Lemoore. I saw Guar at Lemoore also, but Body Count, one of the most ridiculous shows I've ever seen. They played with DRI at Lemoore. It was so crazy that they locked the doors behind everybody because people were either sneaking in or barging their way in. The crowd was nuts. But even that show, at that point, $12? I don't think it was $12 at that point. I think it was probably at least like $20 to go see a band. That's going back 30 years ago. You can't beat the price. The price only goes up as the tiers go up. So they have a certain amount of tickets in every tier, and once that tier sells out, they go to the next tier and the prices continue to go up. Single day tickets went on sale today as well. There's camping on site, however limited it may be, because a lot of that sold out during pre-sale. There's hotel packages that you could get as well, and it's just a really phenomenal weekend. If you guys are going and you see us, say hello. We love talking to everybody. I will say this too, as far as how that lineup came to be, for months, Danny Wimmer Presents and their staff, if you tuned into any of their socials, they continuously asked or pitted different bands against each other. Like, would you rather see this or would you rather see that? And fans had an opportunity to vote or express their desire to see specific bands. And that's how they make decisions. I will, cards on the table, tell you, here's my cards. I'm going to put my card on the table and tell you that I did have conversations with DWP at the end of Rockville last year because they had watched our wrap-up video and wanted to connect and see, maybe there's a way we can work together. And hopefully there is. Hopefully they're watching this video and we can tie back together again. But the day that I spoke with them, I had dialed into one of their meetings that they were hosting at the time. And it was around fan feedback. And it was interesting to be part of this discussion, or at least a fly on the wall, and see just how much they listened about different things, from hotels to bands to fan reactions to experience, and to be able to build things off of that. This is not a Live Nation type company that doesn't give a shit about anybody that is attending their event. This is a company that wants to hear from their fans. They're basing things off of fan reaction and feedback, and they continue to get better every year. Like I said, we've been going like 11 or 12 years. This went from a 1-day festival to a 2-day to 3-day to 4-day. And then they have the camping pre-party and stuff. It is an incredible machine that they've built at this point. And the size of it is just ginormous. To know just how few people there are actually working at DWP to pull all of this stuff off is mind-blowing. And I'd be safe to say, like, I don't think that there's ever a time that we're not disappointed. You may not like some of the bands that are playing on the bill, but the reality is there's so many other bands or things to see at other times that it more than outweighs things. This is the musical buffet of the year, and we're down for it. I'm so psyched. So sorry for rambling so much. Thanks a lot for checking us out. Thank you very much for all of your likes, comments, and subscriptions. Treat others the way you want to be treated. We'll have a great night. See you guys.